Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody! Oh, that magical time of the year where the jolly old fat man comes sliding in, drops off some boxes at your doorstep, and hops in his truck and drives off? Oh, my bad. That is, in fact, an Amazon employee. Christmas is the second biggest deal of the year for me and Hyder. The cookies, the movies, the music, we love getting ready for the big 2-5. And now with Doubloon here, it's gonna be all the more special. But you know, if there's one thing we've never really done before, it's make a Christmas special. Unfortunately, I'm kinda in a hurry today, and I don't really have anything prepared, so I'm sorry, I'll have to see you next. What? I mean, what the hell am I even supposed to say about this? The Santa Claus movies were a trilogy of films about Scott Calvin, played by Tim Allen, presumably because he also has two first names, and his ongoing struggles with, murdering Santa and then getting away with it by wearing his clothes. Like a holly jolly sociopathic criminal. But it's okay, because he gets really fat and he has a hot wife. He's living the dream. I actually like the first one a fair bit still. It's a cute enough movie, and I can safely say that watching the 1994 one still makes me feel the magic of Christmas. The sequel started 8 years later. Yeah, for whatever reason, in 2002 and 2006, they made 2 more of these. Why? I mean, if you got Tim Allen raring to throw on a fat suit, surely you gotta do it, yeah? He's the silly, guy. He's funny, I swear. Anyway, the Santa Claus 2. I didn't watch this one. Do you care? Does anyone care about the second one? No? Okay, we're gonna move on. Anyway, the Santa Claus 3 is absolutely awful. I wanted to dedicate a longer segment to the movie itself, but I would really be stretching to pretend I have enough to say about it. The entire movie is just an hour of the most menial, mundane nothing as Santa tries to pretend that he's Canadian while getting his in-laws up to the North Pole to celebrate the birth of his and Mrs. Claus's child, which is coupled with fellow magical maniac Jack Frost being really mad that he doesn't get a holiday and thus scheming to steal the role of Santa by being a really catty, petty bitch. Besides the problem of it not being funny or intriguing or having any tension or really the fact that it exists at all, the first movie is about how if you kill Santa you get to take his job. So this entire harebrained plot by Jack Frost to get Santa to invoke a takesies-backsies clause doesn't even make any goddamn sense. You see him try to kill people in the movie. Just get a gun and shoot the bastard. Who's gonna stop you? The only thing worth a damn in this whole movie is Tim Allen's weird soy jack fireplace. And you know, I'm glad Disney agreed, because logically that means we got a game out of it. The game doesn't have the fireplace. I'm sorry, please don't kill me for lying, I'm not Santa. Yeah, that's right, just the Santa Claus 3. Not a Super Nintendo game for the first one. And then you'd think when the second one didn't get one either that Scott Calvin's homicide-tastic escapades would probably just never grace my hands in game form, but for whatever reason there is a Game Boy Advance game based on this damn thing. So the question to ask, obviously, is how good is it? Was it worth the time, effort, and cartridges? Oh, come on, man, be for real. First things first, the story. It, sorta follows the movie. The game is split up into 4 chapters, each sprinkled with cutscenes that are screenshots of the movie with dialogue that sorta explains what you're supposed to be doing in the film, but it's pretty much just a formality. Anything past the intro regarding Mrs. Claus being pregnant, Scott bringing his ex-wife and her family to the North Pole, really the entire escape clause, the thing the movie's named after, they aren't here. The movie game doesn't even tell the plot of the movie. Off to a great start here. I also found out that these apparently don't appear on replays of the same level, so credit to the long play archive for any footage of that in this video, because 2 playthroughs of this game are enough for 1 Christmas. Thank you. You get the bare minimum understanding that Santa needs to keep it a secret from his in-laws that he's Santa Claus, and then he scolds Jack Frost, who according to this game seems to just bum around Santa's workshop like a well-dressed meth head, and with that, we're off. This game is a 2D platformer with light puzzle and collectathon elements. As you might be able to see, the game looks not great. I'll be fair, I think some environments actually don't look half bad. Mainly the icy lands outside of the toy factory. I think some of the backgrounds and platforms here actually can look kinda nice. And the game does a pretty good job of making sure old Tim Allen's always easily visible by keeping its use of reds to a minimum outside of the jolly old fat man. And frankly, plenty of GBA games struggled with visibility back in the day, so I'll give them credit here. But it's as soon as I have to actually look at Santa where things get just a little more messy. Like, I get they're going for that pre-rendered 3D Donkey Kong Country thing, but the thing is, in Donkey Kong's case, Oh yeah, he's not here anymore. In Donkey Kong's case, they're still easily readable. These are silly monkeys. Here? I mean, my god, nobody has a face. Every human character in this game looks so off-putting to me. It's like everyone is an underdeveloped homunculus. Items and enemies tend to sneak by better because they're a bit more cartoony in nature, but I just think that this was the wrong way to go for the people. This also isn't even my biggest visual problem with the game, and I'm sure you can see the problem here too. A lot of background elements feel stretched and a little blurry, as if they didn't realize the resolution of the Game Boy Advance's screen and played some MS Paint roulette to get the desired result. Like, look at this nutcracker, this tree, whatever the hell's going on here. The game has assets that look genuinely pretty nice. I don't think this stuff should look so poor. But that's enough rambling about the visuals. How about the gameplay? It's really bad. In the Santa Claus 3, you go from level to level, hopping through largely simplistic areas until you reach the end, all the while collecting milk and cookies, which do nothing, I think. The game does track if you've collected every one of them in an area, but to my knowledge, this doesn't actually net you anything besides some snow globes, and those don't do anything besides verifying you spent way too much time playing this game if you have all 6. You'll be gliding, double jumping, and using your short-ass stubby melee jack-in-the-box as you work your way through the wilderness of the North Pole, as well as Santa's compound as he tries to get everything back under control before it's time to deliver the presents to the kids of the world. Each level is presented in a similar format, giving you whatever small element introduces to the gameplay, such as springs or pushable blocks in 2 short segments, with a checkpoint in the middle of each stage. This gives you plenty of time to also familiarize yourself with how uniquely wonky the controls are here. Walking around doesn't feel too bad, but starting other actions has this gross wind up to it. Attacking and jumping both have just enough delay to make doing anything a laborious task. But even that's only kinda, because double jumping and gliding are so much snappier that it creates this weird problem where starting any action feels so much worse than staying in motion. I don't know how they did it. Isaac Newton would weep if he saw what they programmed here. I will give the game credit for its one interesting control decision, because I think a game willing to do more than the bare minimum could have absolutely done something with it. As I mentioned, with Santa you have access to both a glide and a double jump. However, once you commit to the double jump, you can't glide. More importantly, you can double jump out of a glide. I think the idea of having to decide on what sort of movement you need in order to clear an obstacle could have been really cool. Some sort of quick thinking commitment on whether you need a long jump or a tall one has plenty of potential for interesting platforming opportunities, but the game never really demands that of you. In fact, there's only one time in the entire playthrough where I actually even found a mandatory use of double jumping out of a glide, and while I wasn't exactly expecting much out of this, I still found it to be a huge bummer. Of course, this glide move is probably pretty underbaked all around for a more Tim Allen-y reason. So, after 2 worlds of this, you get into a boss level of sorts where you pretty easily dispatch of a bunch of snowmen by just jumping behind them, and then Jack Frost, I mean, in the movie, he gets Santa to relinquish his title with the titular escape clause, but here he just seems to, win just because. Yet another instance of this game not really adhering to what little plot the movie has when it matters, but, I'm sorry, what the f is happening? From here on out, we're Santa no more. We're just regular, degular Scott Calvin, which interestingly enough comes with a couple control changes. You no longer have a glide, but you do retain the double jump, which I don't remember Tim Allen doing on Home Improvement, but maybe I missed an episode. He also now has a much better attack? It's a snowball, so the range is better. Don't gotta get up in that snowman's face to hit him anymore, but the arc it travels at is actually kinda inconvenient, all things considered, so it's improved, but also still kinda manages to find a way to suck ass. And speaking of ass, oh my god, I hate the second half of this game. Jack Frost may have finally gotten his wish granted to be Santa, but it seems like he was also dead set on making sure that the entirety of the planet was glazed with ice while he was at it. Plenty of segments in previous levels were icy, but from this point onwards, it feels like a solid 80% of all meaningful platforming is on ice physics, with a lot of small platforms. This means a lot of spamming your double jump to try to correct yourself and avoid slipping off into spikes or bottomless pits, and it's just miserable to play now. I am nothing but a simple 40-something-year-old businessman who wants to get back to having a hot wife and an all-cookie diet. I'm not built for this 8th circle of hell bullshit. I think what makes it even worse to me is that the music, by this point, has really worn down my spirit. This game has a very limited soundtrack, and all but 1 or 2 tracks all sound so damn similar to each other that even though there's maybe 6 songs, it feels more like 2 used across the whole game. On top of that, most sound effects consist of these really high-pitched noises, especially the double jump, so outside of the occasional, you just get bombarded with It gets very grating going from stage to stage when everything sounds identical to the last 6 levels, and you're constantly double jumping to offset the annoying ice physics so you get all manner of high-pitched beeping on top of it. The whole experience becomes this taxing gauntlet of overstimulating mess, and you know, bold take, I don't care for it. The worst part is easily the end of the game though. The final gauntlet of Santa Claus 3 introduces a fun new enemy type, these security guards that will insta-kill you if you come into contact with them. They're not the hardest thing to avoid, but are constantly placed in fun places to blindside you, which means you're going right back to the start of whichever half of the level you're on. They're just another irritation on top of everything else already, and it makes the whole back half of the adventure even more annoying. Of course, the worst stage actually has the guards as like the 4th biggest issue, so that's handy. Say hello to this stupid auto-scroller. Annoying for all the typical ways an auto-scroller chugs balls. Can't control your own pace, instant kills, enemies placed in such a way that using your snowball isn't gonna do anything, all while having the fun little party trick of this stupid platform I hate. You have to hit this platform while it's still high up enough, but at the time that you reach this part of the screen, it's about to start heading down, and it doesn't rise up in time before you get squished, meaning your window to move on is really small. This whole game is pathetically easy to this point. I have no idea why this one specific jump is so much harder than the entire rest of the game. What makes it all the worse is that it's essentially at the end of this level, so every time you screw it up, and you will screw it up, you have to start the damn slow crawl all over again. Every other level takes like 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes if you're really taking in the sights, but this one part took me 15. And again, it's not at your own pace, it's just the worst slog imaginable until you get it. Ah, whatever. With the final world behind us, we get the only boss fight in the entire game, Jack Frost. Santa Frost? Who cares? Do you care? Does anyone care? After what I've seen, I've had it up to here with your vision for Christmas, you icicle pissing son of a... Chill out and enjoy the swag? Yeah, okay, dog, I'm killing you. After this, the game... the game ends with Scott Calvin becoming Santa again and Jack Frost being hugged by a kid. That's it. Who's that kid? What about his in-laws? The Canada stuff? What, you thought the game was actually going to conclude on anything it started with? Go watch the movie, lips. Actually, no, watch the Soy Jack chimney again. And that's the game. A journey that starts off pretty boring and mundane, but just progresses further and further into aggravation as it goes on. I can't guarantee this is truly the worst Game Boy Advance game of all time. I mean, it's one piece of shovelware and a sea of garbage that got put on the handheld. I mean, my god, have you seen some of the ports this thing got? But when I consider that this game is also a GBA exclusive movie tie-in for the Santa Claus 3 that lasts less time than the movie, yeah, this kind of sucks real bad, man. I don't know, I think this might actually be rock bottom. Now, this is normally the part where I say, oh, the bad game? Yeah, don't play this. But you know, maybe actually do check it out. It's kind of magical playing such a weirdly specific pile of slop, so yeah, fuck it, do it. I do recommend this one. Merry goddamn Christmas, Martin Short. Now stop hugging little girls. Ah, who am I kidding? This thing sucks. Doubloon, if you please. Anyway, sorry for the short special here, but I actually can't stick around for more. We got a letter from my great Aunt Lottie inviting us to Christmas dinner with the rest of my family. I haven't seen any of them in years at this point. Now, cards on the table, me and Hyder ain't much for sailing. We're port workers, the boats come to us, not the other way around. Now, have we seen a boat in the last, ever? No, but that's alright. Hyder, Doubloon, and I have built a lovely old raft, got some provisions, and we're ready to set sail due northwest once we're past the mountains. Oh, I can't wait to see you. Wait, why am I doing this? I'm an axolotl. I can breathe underwater. Ooh. Well, there's no place like home for the... Oh, by golly.
Yes, good.
What's your business here?
Be the son of my man.